Earlier this year, Notre Dame was knocked off in a brutal fashion by NIU. It was glorious. It required 2 blocked field goals. It was a sicko game and everything we wanted. I even made a video about it in all its beauty as the greatest upset of the last decade. But that didn't last long because just a couple weeks after, Alabama marches into First Bank Stadium, home of Vandy for those who didn't know because I actually had to Google it, and one does not simply walk into First Bank Stadium, and to the dismay of all, they were ran out. An upset that hasn't happened in over 25 years, signaling the end of an era for Alabama as SEC's most dominant team, perhaps? Who knows? But definitely one of the biggest upsets we had seen and was the antithesis to the Notre Dame game as Vandy took Alabama to a shootout and beat them there. So surely this was the new biggest upset of the decade and would stay that way for a long time. But little did we know that on a Wednesday night game, a match between the ever-meme Kennesaw State and rising powerhouse Liberty, we would get the new biggest upset in our lifetime in just the most glorious fashion.
Blown dead. Celebration part 2 for win number 1.
But you can get in on the action too with Underdog, the easiest place to play fantasy sports. And if you sign up with my promo code today, you're not just getting the best fantasy sport experience, but helping your favorite football YouTube channel out. Using that code will also get you a free pick, plus you can get a deposit offer and up to $1,000 in bonus cash. And what better way to use that cash than on Pick'em, where you pick whether your favorite players will have a higher or lower stat total in this week's game for a chance to win big. Yes, it's just that easy, and you can win up to 1,000 times your money in a single night. And if you sign up right now, you're gonna get a free Matthew Stafford pick. I mean, they just don't want you to lose. But speaking of the Rams taking on the Vikings tonight, I think the Rams defense is gonna hold pretty strong and keep Sam Darnold lower than his 248 yards of passing, which means I think it's gonna be a pretty kicker heavy game. So I've got Will Reichard kicking from more than 7.5 points, and I think Joshua Carty is gonna be forced to kick more than 2 field goals. And I just love how easy it is to use Underdog's app. So don't punt on a good time. Click the link in the description and come play today on Underdog. So obviously, to understand the breadth and depth of this historic upset, we have to understand the two teams playing in it because it doesn't involve your typical blue chip programs. So let's start with Kennesaw State because that is a very interesting story. In 2014, Kennesaw State football program did not exist. Well, they existed in the sense that they were practicing, but that was their first year and they did not play a game. This team was led by Brian Bohannon, and they would enter the football championship subdivision in 2015, where they would find moderate success, but immediately launch forward in 2017, where they would win their first conference title, go to the playoffs, and eventually lose to future FBS team Sam Houston State in the quarterfinals of the playoffs. They would then dominate the Big South in historic fashion as the new big dog in town with 5 consecutive 10-win seasons, barring a botched COVID year where they only played 5 games and won 4 of them. But the school, feeling a little big in their britches, was looking to expand, so they moved to the more competitive ASUN conference where they fell back down to middle of the pack. But most importantly, now was the time that they would begin their transition to an FBS schedule in the Conference USA, following Sam Houston State in fact. 2023, they would play just 9 games, one of which being Sam Houston, and well, let's just say, it was not a great start. They were dropping games left and right, going on a 5-game slide to Chattanooga, Furman, Tennessee Tech, Charleston Southern, and Tennessee State. Then, when it was their time to finally play their first conference matchup in Sam Houston State, this Bearcat team, who was also struggling in the FBS, would turn their season around with a big win over Kennesaw as the Owls would limp through their last game of VUL. But heading into their first full year of FBS play, they were way down from the highs of the late 2010s. And man, did they feel it every bit of the way. To put it lightly, teams were not cutting them any slack for being newbies to the bowl subdivision. UTSA essentially kicked their teeth in, with Kennesaw's only bright spot being their field goal kicker and punter, which may win you a game in the Big Ten, but not Conference USA. Then the Raging Cajuns would come into their house, piss on their cabinets, double dip their sauces, and they even took a roll of toilet paper on the way out. their last roll of toilet paper at that. Their offense would put up a little over 200 yards, their defense got scored on at will, and this game felt way more out of reach than the 34-10 score would indicate, and it didn't get easier. San Jose State would score just 3 points less than Louisiana while still holding Kennesaw to 10 points before UT Martin would smack them around in their closest game so far, being just a close 2 touchdowns out of range of winning. Then Jacksonville State, a former FCS team, would show them how to properly transition to FBS as they walloped them 63-24 for their most demoralizing loss in school history. But now would start their weird stretch of scheduled games. They had a Tuesday night game against Middle Tennessee where for about 5 minutes they held a 2-point lead thanks to a safety, and that was their last lead of the game as the score ended 14-5. But this close, gritty game gave them a light, a small, distant sign of hope that maybe they were close to being close to turning the corner that was before the actual corner you'd have to turn to being a decent FBS team. But it was still a long, long way away, as they had to prepare now to take on Liberty of all teams on a Wednesday night game. And okay, I know that was a bit long-winded, but I felt like it was necessary. So let's get to Liberty, who could not be more of a foil if they tried. You see, Liberty joined the FBS in 2018, and their first game of that FBS schedule was them smacking Old Dominion 52-10. They were competitive all year long, ending 6-6, and they have been to a bowl game every year since, including a 2023 season where they went an impressive 13-0 before losing to Oregon in the Fiesta Bowl. So they had momentum on top of momentum this season, and it started no different. They rolled past their FCS opponents, snuck past New Mexico State, handily beat UTEP and ECU before a bit of an uncharacteristic gritty overtime win against FIU on another wacky Tuesday night game. But coming into this Kennesaw game, they were 27-point favorites to win the game. But it seems like nobody told that to either team. Now, the game started just as scripted as you expect a game like this to go. Kennesaw drives. They don't get far and are forced to punt to a Liberty team who was just methodical in the slicing and dicing of this flimsy Kennesaw defense to drive 73 yards in 11 plays to take the lead. Now, the Owls would get the ball back and just sneak out a first down before throwing a 22-yard pass. That's not very like them. Now a 41-yard touchdown pass? Okay, this seems like it's probably just a fluke, right? Liberty's just getting a little bit too cocky. So they're going to get the ball back. Once again, a long, methodical drive. They're going to get to the opposite 48-yard line, and the Flames quarterback is tackled. Now it's 4th and 5, but they're going to go for it. He drops back to pass and airmails the 4th down conversion. Could Kennesaw do it again? My God, Bryson throws another 41-yard dime to Jaden Robinson. They're at the very least in field goal range until Bryson scrambles to get them to the 1-yard line, and then they drive it home. Oh my God, they have a lead against the 5-0 Liberty Flame. But we can't get too ahead of ourselves, okay? The Owls break up a big 3rd down shot pass by the Flames to force a punt before being forced to punt it back. And there's electricity on the air on the Kennesaw sideline. So now the defense makes another big 3rd and 1 stop, but Liberty have not given up trying to make a point. They're going to go for it on 4th down again because they just thought they were better, didn't they? Well, this play, they were. They pick up the 1st down, but immediately they're going for a shot pass, and that hubris is too much. Salter throws it into double coverage. It's intercepted. Kennesaw has the ball and the lead. But the fairy tale it felt like it was a drive away from being over. And now, before the half was over, it seemed like it was all starting to crumble. Kennesaw was forced to punt back, and Liberty once again, 12 plays, 81 yards, inevitability. They score and tie the game up going into halftime, and I don't know what halftime speech was given, but I need to inject it into my veins because 3 plays into Liberty's opening drive and they gained no ground. The Owls defensively were hungry, and for the first time in forever, they smelled blood. Offensively, though, they were still struggling. They get out across midfield, they get all the way to the 39-yard line, but they're facing a 4th and 10, but my God, they were going to go for it. Bryson takes the snap out of the gun, he drops back, he throws it, and it's overthrown. We look to the ref, he checks his phone, okay, the check cleared. Pass interference, Liberty, automatic 1st down. That flag kept them alive and may have won them the game as 3 plays later, touchdown, Kennesaw, lead Kennesaw. Liberty is on their back foot now. They're driving, but 2 incomplete passes is all it takes to be forced to settle for a field goal. The Owls see them within striking distance and need to keep putting together big drives. They're moving the ball well, but on 3rd and 9, pass incomplete. But Bryson takes a hit. Well after the ball is released, no check required this time. This is roughing the passer. The Kennesaw fairy tale keeps its wings, and 4 plays after that, they're settling for a field goal of their own to go up 7 points again. Okay, Liberty, you just have to finish one of these drives. They're once again slicing through the hot butter known as Kennesaw defense, easily down to the 30-yard line, but on 3rd and 6, Big 15 pins the Salter pass against the backboard, hardly ever leaving his hand. Now, they're going to attempt to go for it again on 4th down. Salter, in a big moment, he steps back to pass, is flushed out to his right, he throws it, but that ball doesn't have a shot. Unlike the Owls, who are now being fueled by adrenaline of potentially winning their first FBS game and put together an insane drive with impressive catches and are firing on all cylinders to get down into field goal range as they play it safe for Welsh to make this a 2-score game. The Liberty defense tries to jump the line, but to no avail. Welsh is pure and gives them a 10-point lead. Liberty in full-on Mayday mode come alive. They are determined not to be upset and drive 63 yards in 2 minutes to score and bring themselves within 3 points. Now Kennesaw has the ball back and a chance to ice it, but on 3rd and 2, get stuffed. They wait the clock down to 10 seconds to go for it on 4th and 1, and it's close. They review the play, the refs check their phone, Liberty's check just clears. Liberty gets the ball with a shot at winning the game. They try to just get into field goal range with a pass to the sideline as Salter heaves it, but it's too high. Kennesaw wins. The fans are storming the field. And why aren't Liberty's coaches leaving? What is he doing with that checkbook? Wait, what do you mean there's a second left? Kennesaw now has to unstorm the field. They're 1 second away of simultaneously breaking the longest active losing streak in FBS and the longest active winning streak in FBS. The first time that's ever been done in history. So with a game on the line, Salter drops back, and it's time for the second field storm. One for each broken record.
Ball on the turf, ball blown dead. Celebration part 2 for win number